Say a couple nekudis from Hadin of the Rebbe said, Parshas Lech Lecha Tavshin on Aleph. This was by the 8th Siyum Rambam, the Rebbe. I hope no one chazed this too much achreina, because otherwise you'll have a good chazara. 1 second. Fine. So in the last perek of the Rambam speaks about the matzav of the world, what the world will look like when Moshiach comes, different inyanim, different things, until he gets to, in the first 3 halachas, he explains what the world will look like when Moshiach comes, different pratim. And the 4th halacha, the Rambam writes that the reason why the Chachamim, Nevi'im wanted Moshiach is in order that they're going to be able to sit in a comfortable way, to learn Torah and mitzvahs, without any negish mevato. And the Rambam says, we explain this idea in Hilchos Tshuva. In Hilchos Tshuva, the Rambam explains the reason why that the Chachamim and Nevi'im wanted Mashiach is not that they would be able to rule the world or do something crazy. It's because Pasha, to be able to sit and learn Torah, to be involved in Torah mitzvahs, that's why they wanted Mashiach to come. Then, in the last halacha, the Rambam continues on, and he explains seemingly a continuation of what the world will look like when Mashiach comes. It says, and he finishes off, so it seems that the Rambam is like giving a hemshech of what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. So the Rebbe asks, like, how does halacha daled end up in the last perek? Like, what's the seder advarim? The Rambam should first either explain all about what Mashiach is, and the last halacha explain why we want Mashiach, or he should first explain why we want Mashiach and then explain what Mashiach is. There should be some sort of seder. Instead, what does the Rambam do? He says, first of all, what Mashiach is, why we want Mashiach, and then continuing on to explain more about what Mashiach is. So the Rebbe says, I'm not going to go into everything, but the Rebbe's point is that there's a chiluk ikri between Hilchos Tshuva, the first 3 halachas of the last perek, and finishing off the last halacha, and then the final halacha hey of the Rambam, where the Rambam finishes off be'etzim his whole sefer. The Rebbe explains that the first 3 halachas will continue finishing off in the 4th halacha and Hilchos Tshuva. That's explaining what Mashiach is mitzad Yidden, the shleimus of Welt, the way that it's going to have an effect on Yidden. Yidden are going to be able to at that time complete Torah mitzvahs in the most complete way, because there's not going to be any problems from Gashmias, from the other Ummah Ha'olam, and we're going to be able to sit and learn Torah, be a stark to sein. Then, in the final halacha, the Rambam adds how there's going to be a shleimus of Olam, not only mitzad Yidden, in other words, not only what Yidden will need in order to learn Torah mitzvahs in a comfortable, relaxed way, but he adds there'll be a shleimus in Welt mitzad itself. And in those gufa, in the fact there'll be a shleimus in Welt, he brings 2 pratim. First of all, that the world itself will reach its complete shleimus, that there'll be leirav, leimachama, v'kina, v'sachros, all the things which are kind of today obstacles and things which are abnormal in the world. And then he finishes off the last word that there'll be even more than that. There'll be a shleimus in the world which is in Welt, which is completely higher than the world itself. So, not to get to all the details, but the Rebbe asks a fundamental question, a very simple question. L'chayra, why do we need a shleimus in Welt which is not going to affect Yidden? Okay, so b'meila understand why Mashiach is going to come. It's going to be a time that we're going to be able to do Torah mitzvahs properly. We're going to have a Beis HaMikdash. We're going to be in Eretz Yisrael. We're going to have everything which we need to be able to complete Torah mitzvahs in the most proper way. But l'chayra, the idea that now when Mashiach comes, there's going to be a shleimus in Welt mitzad atzma, and a shleimus which is higher than Welt, l'chayra, that goes against the whole principle and the whole fundamental of Mashiach. The Rebbe explains, the whole point of Mashiach is to bring a shleimus in Torah mitzvahs. L'chayra, something which is more than Torah mitzvahs, something which is shleimus in Welt, a shleimus which is hachiv in Welt, l'chayra, there's no need for that to be achieved when Mashiach comes. So, in order to explain this, the Rebbe says, the beer which is very well known, that B'chalal, when it comes to Mashiach, it's not understood why is Tchias HaMesim, something which is a Shinui Teva Min Hagi Shaleilam, something which is different, which has never been before, why is that Keilu a part of Mashiach's and a fundamental of Mashiach? It changes world. And also the very famous question that the Rambam paskins v'negea to Mashiach, that there's no difference between now and when Mashiach comes. The only difference is shiur Malchus, that's like Shmuel. And when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, he paskins that there will be a shinim in Hagi Shaleilam. And that's why these days it's also to go out with Klizayin, with weapons on Shabbos, because when Mashiach comes, it's going to be batal. So we see that Itzhak will be batal when Mashiach will come. So we see kind of this contradictory idea that on one hand, the Rambam paskins there's no difference when Mashiach comes, and on the other hand, the Rambam paskins, like seemingly when you get to Shabbos, there is going to be a shinui. And the general view of the Rebbe, like it's well known, is there's going to be two tkufas. There's the first tkufa when taka everything is going to go 100% exactly like it's until now, and that's the etzem, the shleimus of Torah mitzvahs in the most complete way. And then there's going to be a tkufa shniya, the second tkufa, which is going to bring even a greater revelation of Elikus into this world, that because of that, there's going to be a change of Minhag Shaleilam. So the Rebbe explains, why do we need this shinoi? Why do we need this change in Welt, the Shleimus of Welt, which is Hechev in Welt, the Shleimus of Welt and Tzadatzma? So, Bekitzer, I don't know how much, what the Derech Klal, when does the shiur go to? I know. So, Derech Klal, the Rebbe explains that the Nekuda is that when you learn any chachma, when you learn anything in Torah or in any chachma, there's the pratim of the things. There's the fact that you learn a lot of pratim, you're mekayim a lot of mitzvahs pratius, and then once you finished the pratim of everything, you come to some sort of shleimus in the entire nekuda. So al derech zeh is Torah mitzvahs. You have the fact that every single one of the mitzvahs is here to affect something else in the world. And when you have a klalus combination of all the mitzvahs, that brings about a certain shleimus in the world, because now you don't only have the specific mitzvah and then other parts of the world which are being menaged to the Torah mitzvahs, you have a shleimus in the whole world. So that's a shleimus which is dafka brought about when you finish all Torah mitzvahs. And therefore, the Rambam finishes off his sefer where he's explaining what Torah mitzvahs is, explaining that at the end of time, when Mashiach comes, there's going to be a shleimus in Welt. Why? Because all of the pratim are going to be finished. And that's how he finishes off the halacha dalet. Halacha dalet saying, why do we want Mashiach to come? Because then there's going to be a shleimus of all the Torah mitzvahs, all the pratim. But then there's another aspect. The fact that Torah mitzvahs is not only a kibbutz, a connection of a lot of pratim together, there's the idea that the Torah is here to be megal in Welt, the chachma of the Eibishter. And the chachma of the Eibishter, which is a klal, which is higher than the pratim, is dafka niskala when you have all of the shleimus of all the pratim together. So once you finish Torah mitzvahs and you understand all the pratim of Torah mitzvahs, then you understand the greater klal of Torah mitzvahs, which that is the chachma and the ratzon of the Eibishter, which is not niskala specifically in the pratim mitzvahs, every mitzvah prat. It's something which is niskala at a more klalistic level. The Rebbe explains in the Sikha, I'm not going to go by arichos, but in that gufa, there's two inyanim, there's two efanim. There could be the shleimus of the klalim and the shleimus of the mitzvah mitzad itself. In other words, the olam mitzad itself until it reaches its shleimus, the istayf to zayin 100%. And then you have a shleimus which is brought about in Welt, which is higher than the whole gather of Welt b'chlal. It transcends Welt. It's something which is much higher than Welt mitzad itself. And that's why the Rambam kind of breaks it up into two separate halachas. The final halacha in halacha daled, he explains the shleimus of the Welt, the way that it's going to happen when we finish all the Torah mitzvahs. You have all the pratim together. You finished all the Torah mitzvahs. So Mela, that's it. You have what you needed to have the Gula. You have what you need for Mashiach to come. Then in halacha A, the Rambam is meisif that besides the shleimus of pratim, there's going to be a shleimus of Welt mitzad itself, and that's something which is going to be dafka in the tkufa shniya when we're going to have Mashiach coming, the second tkufa. There's going to be not only a shleimus in Welt mitzad what it needs to have, a shleimus which is much higher than the Welt itself, and that's the idea of the last parak of Rambam. That's why the Rambam says things in the last halacha which is kind of a shinim in Hagish Leilam. There's not going to be kinna, tachros, and there's going to be all of these things which are not only for Yidden to learn Torah, but even things which are hecher than the Welt itself. So, like the Rebbe says, through learning in Yanigul and Moshiach, we already live in the Matzah of Gula, and we should have this gal so the Rebbe take it from Yad Mamish. Amen.